When you distance yourself from a woman, her response often reveals more than her words can express. However, many men fear silence, thinking that disengaging means losing power or appearing weak. In truth, the opposite is often the case. Chasing, begging, or trying to justify yourself only weakens your stance. Women are not attracted to men who constantly seek approval. They respect those who recognize their own value, especially in the face of rejection. Once you stop engaging, the dynamics change. Whether she admits it or not, she takes notice. Doubts begin to creep in. Why isn't he contacting me? Has he moved on? Is he seeing someone else? Suddenly, the man she overlooked becomes someone she can't ignore. However, not every woman will respond in the same way. Some will pursue, eager to regain their sense of control. Others will test your boundaries, attempting to draw you back in. Then there are those who remain apathetic, the ones who never appreciated you to begin with. Understanding this difference is essential. It helps you determine if she deserves your attention or is simply a distraction. In this video, we explore the psychology behind a woman's reaction to silence. You will learn to identify the subtle changes in her behavior, the motivations behind her responses, and how to leverage this knowledge to maintain your strength. If you have ever felt caught in the cycle of pursuing someone who pulls away, take this as your cue to stop. Silence is not the conclusion. It is the moment you take back control. She starts seeking your validation at first. When you pull back, everything changes. She begins to doubt herself, especially if she's used to you always being the one to reach out, always available, and smoothing over conflicts. Your silence, which was once unimaginable, now becomes hard to overlook. The attention she previously took for granted now feels rare, and this rarity ignites desire. Why does this occur? It's rooted in human psychology. People crave validation because it offers certainty and security. When you were consistently present and affirming her worth, she felt secure. Your attention was a constant. But when that disappears, uncertainty creeps in, sparking intrigue. She starts to notice the lack of your validation and begins to seek it out. Initially, her response may be subtle. She might engage more with your social media, laugh a bit louder at your jokes, or casually mention shared experiences to reconnect. However, as time goes on, her efforts become more pronounced. She may reach out directly, asking about your silence or bringing up trivial topics just to initiate a conversation. These actions are not random. They are her attempts to reclaim the validation your absence has taken away. The crucial point is that this isn't merely about missing a message or a call. It's about her need to feel valued in your eyes. For many women, their sense of worth is often tied to external validation. When that source of affirmation is removed, they instinctively look for it. Imagine a scenario where a man regularly checks in with a woman he's dating, calling her every evening without fail. Then, one day, he stops. No texts, no calls. He turns his attention inward. Initially, she thinks he might just be busy. But after a few days, uncertainty creeps in. Why hasn't he reached out? Did I say something wrong? Is he starting to lose interest? Suddenly, she finds herself reaching out, seeking reassurance and trying to restore the dynamic she once took for granted. This change is significant because it reestablishes equilibrium. When she starts to pursue him, it highlights the void his absence has created, one she feels driven to fill. However, the key is not to rush in and fill that void for her. Instead, maintain your distance, allowing her actions to clarify her true feelings. This approach isn't about manipulation or playing games. It's about recognizing the strength of restraint, the importance of space, and allowing her to contemplate the significance of your presence in her life. When she does pursue you, it's not merely about seeking validation. It's about understanding, perhaps for the first time, how much she genuinely values you. Second, a woman may instinctively test your limits when you pull away, seeking to regain control. This reaction often stems from her feeling a loss of the stability she once had. Your silence disrupts the established dynamic, leaving her unsure of her position with you. This uncertainty drives her to respond, sometimes in surprising ways. Initially, her tests may be subtle. She could send playful messages like, "I guess you're too busy for me now," or, "Wow, someone's gone quiet." These comments are not just casual. They are strategic moves to pull you back in and see if you will revert to your previous behavior of pursuing her. The intention is clear: to break your silence and confirm that she still has an impact on you. If these subtle hints don't work, she may escalate her tactics. She might bring up other men, share attention-grabbing photos, or use vague captions meant to stir jealousy. However, these actions are not truly about those men or the pictures. They are a way to test your strength and see if you will give in and reach out. Consider a woman who is accustomed to quick responses. Initially, she might tease with, "Did you lose your phone?" If you don't respond, she may escalate to, "I guess I'll hang out with someone who actually has time for me." This is where many men stumble. They take the bait, feel the need to defend themselves, or attempt to explain. However, responding only shows that her test was successful, reinforcing her control over the situation. The better approach: stand firm. By remaining unaffected, you compel her to reflect on her actions. She will either appreciate your independence or reveal her own lack of sincerity. The reality is clear. Testing boundaries is not a sign of strength. It indicates insecurity. By staying calm and avoiding emotional manipulation, you earn genuine respect. A man who values himself does not seek approval. Ultimately, that distinction is what makes you unique. Third, she may act indifferent, but in reality, she overthinks everything. When you go silent, her response is often to feign a lack of concern, as if your absence is insignificant. However, underneath that exterior, she is meticulously analyzing every little thing, trying to convince herself that she is unaffected, even though it occupies her thoughts constantly. This behavior serves as a defense mechanism. Women often avoid showing vulnerability, especially when they feel they might be losing control. Instead of revealing how much your silence disturbs her, she projects an image of emotional distance. She might seem aloof, put on a brave face, or act as if she has effortlessly moved on. Yet the truth is, she is engaged in the same mental process as you, thinking, questioning, and wondering. Ironically, while she pretends to be unconcerned, she is more attuned to your actions than ever. She pays attention to everything you do, every social media update, every interaction, and every time you leave her hanging. She analyzes details that previously wouldn't have caught her attention, searching for hidden meanings and overthinking even the smallest signals. The more she attempts to disregard you, the more she becomes preoccupied with thoughts of you. Your silence pushes her into a relentless internal struggle. Why hasn't he reached out? Has he moved on? Was I mistaken about him? These thoughts take hold in her mind, intensifying over time. She won't acknowledge it, but your absence has shaken her sense of control, leaving her in pursuit of answers. The reason she conceals this is straightforward. Showing vulnerability feels like a weakness. Many women learn to hide their feelings instead of revealing them. However, true emotions can't be suppressed indefinitely. The more she resists, the clearer it becomes that she's in turmoil. This is the power of silence. It does the heavy lifting for you. No need for grand gestures, explanations, or disputes, just the resolve to stand firm. While she may seem indifferent outwardly, she's grappling with an inner tempest, questioning everything. Ultimately, that uncertainty drives her to reach out, despite her attempts to seem unaffected. Fourth, she looks for validation from others. When you become silent, she may turn to someone else for validation. This doesn't necessarily mean she's trying to replace you. Often, it's about healing a bruised ego. However, the harsh reality is that if she quickly seeks attention elsewhere, it's time to reevaluate the strength of your relationship. Before reacting defensively, recognize that many men mistakenly believe silence is an effective tactic. It isn't. If your silence comes off as immature, erratic, or manipulative, it's understandable that she seeks solace from others. Women prefer not to feel ensnared in an emotional struggle. If you've been leading her on, sending mixed messages, or vanishing only to return when it's convenient for you, the problem lies with you, not her. When used appropriately, silence can allow for introspection. But if it's misused or overdone, it creates distance, pushing her towards someone who provides clarity and respect. This isn't about placing blame on men, it's about taking responsibility. If you can't offer consistency, security, or honest communication, what do you expect her to do? Wait forever for scraps? That's not how people with self-respect behave. Conversely, if you've been clear, consistent, and purposeful, yet she still seeks validation from others, that's a warning sign. Some individuals crave attention and will seek it out wherever possible. A woman who immediately looks for external approval when you take a step back isn't worth your time. Therefore, the emphasis should be on your actions as well as her reactions. Reflect on this. Are you using silence to gain clarity or to manipulate? If it's the former, her response will show you her emotional maturity. However, if she quickly turns to someone else, consider it a wake-up call. Not just regarding her character, but also about the standards you maintain in your relationships. Ultimately, you deserve someone who appreciates you for who you are, not someone who relies on external validation to feel valuable. Maintain high standards and ensure you're moving in the right direction. Fifthly, she vanishes completely. Understanding indifference. When communication with a woman ceases, she may respond by disappearing entirely. No messages, no calls, no efforts to engage. Just silence. This can lead you to question whether she ever had feelings for you. However, this response is frequently misinterpreted. While it may seem like indifference, the truth is more nuanced. If she withdraws, it typically stems from one of two motivations. Either she has truly moved on, or she is safeguarding herself. If she has genuinely moved on, your lack of communication didn't create the gap. It merely revealed it. She had emotionally disengaged long before you stopped reaching out. In this scenario, your silence wasn't a challenge for her. It confirmed her decision to let go. As difficult as it may be, this is a reality you must acknowledge. A woman who exits without hesitation was never deeply invested, and pursuing her isn't worthwhile. More commonly, though, her silence signifies a desire to regain control. When she senses a loss of power in the relationship, withdrawing can serve as a protective measure. Rather than displaying vulnerability or pursuing you, she completely steps back, aiming to restore the balance of power in her favor. For men, this can be exasperating, as it may feel like being ignored or rejected. Yet, silence in response to silence isn't always a sign of indifference. It can be a strategy. She might be observing to see if you will reach out first. If you do, it validates her approach. If you don't, she must face the possibility of losing you. This doesn't necessarily indicate a lack of care. In fact, it often suggests the opposite. People often become quiet when they are deep in thought, grappling with emotions they haven't fully processed. She is considering her choices, whether remaining silent safeguards her pride or if reaching out provides her with clarity. The best approach? Exercise patience. Avoid pursuing her or trying to resolve the situation. If she is testing you, your calmness shows that you cannot be easily swayed. If she genuinely doesn't care, your restraint saves you from investing energy in someone who isn't fully committed to you. The reality of indifference is often more complex than it appears. Whether she withdraws as a defense or as a test, maintaining your composure is key. Allow her actions to disclose her true motives, and trust that the right individuals will appreciate you without engaging in mind games. Here's a harsh truth. If you find yourself constantly pursuing someone who seeks validation from others, you are squandering your time. No level of emotional investment will alter someone who craves external approval. Don't deceive yourself into believing that silence will compel her to pursue you. If she's not willing to meet you halfway, don't accept being an afterthought. Men need to realize this. Stop participating in someone else's emotional turmoil. The true strength in any relationship lies in recognizing your worth and standing firm. If she doesn't honor that, it's time to let her go. Now, I want to hear from you. Have you ever encountered someone who sought validation from others? Did you fall into that trap, or did you acknowledge your value and walk away? Share your experiences in the comments. I'm eager to hear your thoughts and discuss how you managed it. Let's learn from one another.